The plaza is lively, with people celebrating a festival near a red and white tree. One character questions why the other waited so long to reconnect with Sophie after their breakup years ago. When they finally meet Sophie, there's an emotional reunion where they give her a flower, which she accepts, saying there's always room. Their conversation is halting and nostalgic, revealing unfinished business between them. Sophie discusses her Gommage, indicating it marks her 33rd year of life. While she claims to be fine, having had her whole life to prepare for this event, another character admits to not being fine. Sophie helps a writer named Cyril with a headline about Expedition 33, suggesting it will be the destined journey, despite previous expeditions failing. A character named Luna is performing. There's discussion about a figure called the Painteress, who one character suggests might be trapped in the same cycle as them. They talk about pictos, some kind of markings or tattoos that can be etched onto skin but are considered dangerous. The conversation is interrupted when Gustav needs to help someone in trouble. At the harbor, Sophie's apprentices bring Gustav his coat with newly sewn sleeves. Sophie wanted to do something for him, suggesting she still cares. There's a meaningful exchange about legacy taking many forms. Gustav puts on what appears to be a uniform, which Sophie seems to appreciate. Several people try to comfort someone who's mourning, insisting that grieving is better done with friends. At a festival, someone is working on calculations for the expedition, having triangulated a previous expedition's landing site from 67 years earlier. Gustav receives a gift from apprentices, a journal for his field notes about the expedition to destroy the Paintress. Gustav asks them to protect the shield dome of Lumière while he's gone, which they solemnly promise to do. A guardian expresses concern about someone joining the expedition when they have 9 years before their Gommage, while others only have a year left. Despite this concern, the person insists that 1 year outside Lumière is better than 9 years inside. They engage in a duel, which Gustav wins, receiving a token as prize. The chief counselor arrives, apparently disapproving of the expedition, calling it a fool's quest. The scene begins with a tense conversation about an upcoming expedition. One character describes it as a bloodless guillotine, while emphasizing its importance for morale. The conversation reveals the expedition is dangerous, but necessary to win a chance at survival. There's emotional tension as they acknowledge they'll never see each other again. They discuss Mael, who both appear to be guardians of. One character is surprised the other is allowing her to join the expedition, but they respond that they are guardians, not jailers, and that Mael wants to leave the island. The conversation shifts to a speech that needs to be delivered. A formal speech addresses the expeditioners called the Sword of Lumière. The speaker acknowledges they're dedicating their final year of life to keep hope alive. The speech references battling someone called the Paintress and envisions her defeat, allowing the world to see the sunrise without her shadow. A tense confrontation occurs with someone who survived something called the Gommage. The group must flee when attacked. They retreat to a rally point called the Indigo Tree. The action is chaotic, with urgent commands to keep moving. Gustav and another survivor realize they're the only ones left from their group. Despite Gustav's despair, the other person insists they continue, reminding him that when one falls, we continue. They discover Gustav's invention, a luminic converter, is intact and decide to test it. The luminic converter works successfully. The survivors decide to check for other survivors at the Indigo Tree. They discover an abandoned house and note the Indigo Tree isn't far. They acknowledge they've reached the continent. They encounter a strange situation with a non-attacking creature. They find an expedition journal from Expedition 81 describing communication with a Nevron. The journal notes their discovery could change understanding of Nevrons and Patriots. It mentions how bodies don't disappear like in Lumière and references the painters. The group sees flares indicating other survivors. After some action sequences, they reach the indigo tree only to find nobody there. Instead, they discover a message on the wall directing them to weird corals and a door inside a hut. They debate following the message, which mentions L. One person wants to follow immediately, while another insists on following protocol to wait 3 days. They argue about the mission, with one wanting to abandon it to save L, while the other reminds them of their oath. After finding a hut with a door inside, they discover L, who turns out to be alive. There's an emotional reunion where Gustav apologizes for not coming sooner. L explains waking up there after the beach incident, with someone helping reinforce pictures. The summary ends with them encountering what appears to be a Gestural. The characters encounter Noko, a Gestural merchant who trades useful items for chroma. When questioned about their identity, one character confirms they are a Gestural, not a human. Noko mentions that a Gestural village is nearby. Despite Loon pointing out they don't have time for detours and need to reach the Painteress, the group learns there's another sea to cross first. Noko hints at having a solution for their journey after some playful persuasion. The group discovers dead Nevrons and what appears to be Expedition 68's boat. They notice an unusual anchor that doesn't look man-made. They observe something forging, indicating the creatures possess intelligence. The party engages in combat, with characters using various combat techniques and special abilities like Feel the Burn, Torchica style, and Let the Ink Flow against the enemies. Records from Expedition 68 reveal they survived a terrible maelstrom, with punishing rain and raging clouds. Though they believe the painter sent the storm to defeat them, they overcame it through strength and resilience. While they easily defeated earlier Nevrons, they encountered a gigantic new Nevron type they advised avoiding. The expedition continues through what appears to be an abandoned outpost, described as having melancholy beauty. The party finds a seemingly peaceful area with flowers they avoid touching. Myra experiences something familiar, causing concern. Gustav demonstrates aggression toward the creatures, while others urge caution to understand what's happening. They spot a red tree, suggesting a Gestural village nearby. Some tension emerges regarding how to proceed, with reassurances that a separated member will be fine. Two characters have a heartfelt conversation about death and loss. One admits to having nightmares about a white-haired man encountered on a beach. They make each other promise to run if they see this dangerous figure again. They express concern about how different death is outside Lumière, with one noting death is just as final as the Gommage. They share a moment of light humor about who could outrun whom. The group discovers a Gestural village, confirming the existence of what they thought were fairy tales. They discuss how little they understand about the Paintress, her origins, motives, and identity. The characters acknowledge they're in a war of information with too many unknowns, including the mysterious man from the beach. Despite past losses, they resolve to push forward with their mission, taking comfort in now being 3 instead of 2. The party searches among many red trees for the village. They encounter Justros who initially mistake them for Nevrons. After a brief confrontation, they convince a Gestro named Patak to guide them to the village, with one character demonstrating better communication with Gestros than humans. The village appears designed to be difficult to find, with confusing pathways that could provide strategic advantage. Upon reaching the Gestural village, the party observes that these beings seem better at surviving than humans, despite potentially lower intelligence. They search for the chief's house, finding evidence others have passed through before them. they learn a white-haired man known as Esquier has visited and caused destruction. The village chief's warrior confronts them, considering them dangerous. The group engages in combat demonstrations for the villagers. A reunion occurs when the party finds a missing companion who survived after the beach incident. This person had traveled through a yellow forest, guided by a gestural. After brief combat that one character describes as like beating old people, they decide to return to Golgra, thanking the gestural chief. The group appears to acquire a new password or means to proceed on their journey. As they leave the village, one character remains unusually quiet, admitting to experiencing bad memories but declining to discuss them. Another reassures them they would never abandon a member of Aquafarm 3, which triggers recognition and nostalgia. They reminisce about working together on past projects with someone named Sophie, reflecting on how they once believed they were making a difference and affirming they still are. Our group is about to meet Esquier and the Gestrels. There's a strange feeling in the air. Suddenly, a mysterious white-haired man appears, introducing himself as a seagull. He confronts Alicia, telling her she should have stayed home, cryptically warning that something is her fault, though she doesn't know it. Alicia questions what's happening, but the man warns her she should never have come and is making things worse for everyone. He tells her to take her friends home to spend their final year in peace, issuing his only warning before vanishing. Mael tries to process what she witnessed. Her friends were frozen during the encounter with the white-haired man and a masked woman. Loon pushes her for details, while Sam offers comfort, assuring her she's safe. The group decides to continue east toward Esquier's nest. At Esquier's nest, Gustav shouts the password Golgris provided. This appears to have upset someone, but they're quickly assured it will be forgotten. The interior features unusual light-based decor, giving Maya a sense of déjà vu. Esquier greets them in French. He recognizes one of them as a terrible swimmer and speaks in riddles. When asked for help crossing the sea, Esquier explains he needs his rock named Flory, which was stolen by his neighbor and arch-nemesis Francois. The group encounters Francois, who is actually a talking turtle. After a brief confrontation, Francois gives them a rock, but Esquier later reveals it's not actually Flory. The real Flory is at the Stone Wave Cliffs to the north, marked by a big 33. The group discovers records from previous expeditions. One explorer named Marcel documented his expedition's failure, blaming Esquier's mushrooms and lamenting that they learned nothing useful for future explorers before losing consciousness. During a rest break, Mael confides in Lumière about feeling lost and confused after the encounter with the white-haired people who seemed to know her. Lumière offers comfort, suggesting they focus on things they understand and people they care about. The group finds cryptic poetic writings about those who know not that they are not and living in shadows, swimming in ink. This philosophical message suggests a contrast between those living in ignorance versus awareness of some deeper truth. Esquier announces they're getting close to Flory. The team continues exploring, finding evidence of rebellion against a council hiding under a dome. Records reveal that some believed answers weren't in Lumière, but out in the world, prompting them to take bold action. The group encounters combat, working together to defeat enemies described as spilling ink. They collect useful items along the way and maintain defensive formations during multiple encounters. They discover more expedition records from someone named Lisette, who writes about losing Simone to cold-blooded killers. Lisette captured one of the white-haired bastards who appear human but whom she considered a monster, planning revenge regardless of consequences. A shrine to the Painteress is discovered, who reportedly destroyed the world. The characters discuss how people turn to worship powers they don't understand when facing the unknown. Someone suggests they could use this knowledge to their advantage. They spot what looks like a farm, reminiscent of old times. The group realizes they need to rescue someone named Nabel. A storm approaches as they navigate through challenging terrain. They sense something scary nearby, but continue pushing forward, mentioning Glory being nearby. There's talk about feeling the burn and stopping the storm. One character claims to have seen the future. The mission seems easier than expected, though someone cautions against jinxing their progress. Unexpectedly, they encounter misfortune. The group debates whether something is actually dead, and they prepare to cross the sea, despite one member expressing hatred for water. A group discusses their target, noting she doesn't seem far away. One suggests throwing one more rock, saying it's not about the rock itself, but something more significant. Suddenly, danger appears, and they're urged to run. Someone pleads that they've done nothing wrong and should be on the same side. Chaos erupts with characters shouting to escape and get to higher ground. Someone struggles to help, leading to panic. There's mention of those who will come after them. A mysterious figure appears, claiming their actions are kindness rather than crime, suggesting deeper motives. An emotional confrontation occurs between characters with familial ties. One is accused of letting someone too weak take a risk. A parent-child relationship is revealed, with the parent insisting the child return home. The child refuses, leading to increased tension. Two adversaries face off. One is accused of walking away previously and now interfering. There's talk of living multiple lifetimes and wanting family back. A dispute arises over possession of someone important to both parties. Someone is told to return to their friends while the confrontation continues. The confrontation intensifies with one character accusing the other of setting them down a destructive path and questioning if they're ready for the consequences. A dire prediction is made. She'll never paint again. The scene shifts to characters sitting together, reminiscing about the last time they mourned together. Despite losses, the group reaffirms their plan to head north toward the monolith with SKA's help. They've lost the Lumina converter, but hope Expedition 32 will bring replacements. Someone begins updating their journals before being reassured that tomorrow will still come. A mysterious figure in an expedition uniform appears, offering guidance through a northern quarry to reach the monolith. They identify themselves as part of Expedition Zero and reveal they don't age or suffer from the damage. They explain that Anner, their commander, massacred the team because he believes his immortality comes from the Paintress. The newcomer, named Verso, apologizes for not arriving sooner. One character mourns someone who is something like a brother. The grieving character refuses comfort, explaining they've lost many families and just need space. The group prepares to head for the monolith through the northern quarry. The team encounters disturbing sights they must get used to. A request to bury Gustav is made, but protocol demands they keep moving. Verso suggests a tranquil place past the quarry for a proper burial. The group must take cover from dangers and move quickly through hostile territory. They discover remains of previous expeditions, most destroyed by a single Neveron. Verso hasn't seen this creature in years and believes it's gone. The group finds useful items among the remnants and must navigate carefully through dangerous areas, facing various threats. They find a journal entry from Emily of Expedition War 41, describing trophy collection from killing Neverons and weapon modifications. The entry reveals a fatalistic attitude among expeditioners who only live until 40 but are determined to fight the Painteress's minions. the group continues pushing forward through combat situations. After passing through a danger zone without encountering the special Nevron, they find another journal from Carla of Expedition 57. She expresses doubts about their mission, questioning whether pressing forward is the right course when facing the true scale of the monolith and so much death. A character breaks down, disturbed by the constant death they've encountered. They question how others can continue despite losses like Gustav's death. Suddenly, someone named Mael appears, reminding them of what must be done when someone falls. The group engages in intense combat against Neverons. After defeating the Neverons, who seem to be learning and adapting faster than expected, the group finally arrives at the place they've been seeking. They hold a memorial for Gustav, with one character vowing to finish what he started. The Paintress will pay when they are gone. There will be no more dawn, only open skies. A promise is made to save Gustav, Emma, apprentices, and everyone. The speaker acknowledges Gustav was always there and vows to save them all. They ask to say hi to Soph, reflecting that Gustav was both a brother and father, the best they ever had. The emotional farewell concludes with expressions of love and acknowledgement of family bonds. A journey is planned to avoid a dangerous lake by making a right turn. After traveling for hours, they will rest before heading to Monaco Station to recruit an old friend for additional firepower. Their goal is to take down the Paintress's heart, which will cause her barrier to fall. The chroma around the Paintress is too dense for direct approach, erasing anyone who gets close. The heart's location is confirmed to be in the center of Old Lumière, a discovery made during Expedition 58. Old Lumière was once part of a larger city on the continent before the fracture. Two people share their grief over Gustav's loss. One explains how they handle pain by using it as fuel to keep going, using fear, shame, guilt, and anger as motivation to continue learning. They can feel the presence of lost loved ones, especially when using chroma. When the other person expresses desire to feel Gustav's presence too, they're encouraged to try using their affinity for chroma. Despite appearing knowledgeable, one admits they don't always know what to do. Someone works on contingency plans in case Expedition 32 fails, planning to send information through Gesturals. Another person is whispering to stars, a practice learned from their father to share feelings when they're difficult to express. They reminisce about their first meeting at the Crooked Tower after the Gommage, when one climbed up to escape harbor petals. Despite initially believing their parents had succeeded in stopping the Painteress, they realized the truth when pictures woke, confirming their parents weren't coming home. One person explains they avoided the other after sharing comfort because they needed to focus on finishing their parents' work without distractions. They now realize friends aren't distractions. As they build friendship in their dire circumstances, they wish for wine. Later, after visiting a beautiful burial site, they discuss the inadequacy of condolences and the importance of carrying lost loved ones with them. The younger expedition member joined to escape their life, while Gustav and others genuinely wanted to change things. An emblem is exchanged as the newcomer becomes an official member of the disaster expedition. The group follows train tracks north to Monaco Station, where they encounter a Grandis. Monaco greets them with combat, which is described as a way to calm down this peculiar fighter. Verso introduces new friends to Monaco, who speaks their language. The group prepares for what's described as a relaxing fight with Monaco's unusual fighting style. As honored guests, the newcomers are invited to fight a stalact creature. Verso is criticized for not teaching his friends gradient attacks. After demonstrating combat prowess, they're acknowledged as worthy friends. Someone collects a Nephron foot as part of a transformation ability. Following the battle, they reveal their destination is Old Lumière. Initially reluctant, Verso Minako is convinced to join by the promise of more fighting. Noko also decides to accompany them on this potentially final opportunity. The group arrives at Old Lumière, finding it inhabited only by Neverons. Combat ensues as they face these creatures. Minako attempts to show off, but makes a mistake that separates the group. They regroup and continue toward the heart at the center of Old Lumière. Minako apologizes for landing them in this predicament. They discover something useful for their journey forward. Questions arise about how their piece of Lumière ended up on an island when the rest of the city remains here. As they proceed, Minako describes life before the fracture as smaller, cozier, and livelier, with many more gestuals. The fracture tore villages apart, leaving only a fraction surviving, with forests now filled with gestuals awaiting rebirth. They find something resembling one of Eskir's stones and decide to bring it as a gift. Someone expresses surprise at another's ready agreement with Verso's plans, while acknowledging their aligned interests. Despite Verso being helpful, there remains a feeling he's hiding something. A conversation begins about someone named Verso, with Minako claiming she doesn't remember how they met and feels like she's always known him. When asked about previous expeditions and what happened to them, Minako deflects, suggesting they should ask Verso directly when they find him. The group discovers something significant related to Expedition 58, which apparently traveled with Verso. An axon is discovered, prompting urgent concern when they learn that someone named Mael is with Verso. Minako reacts violently, though she's reassured that Verso would never harm Mael. The group plans to rejoin others at the center of the city. There's a feeling of familiarity in their surroundings, with mentions of Lumière, a bakery that changed names from Angelique's to Mathilde's. Someone approaches a familiar, intact manner that triggers recognition. The scene shifts to a confrontation with Verso, revealing he had a plan involving opening a door for someone. A family conflict unfolds with accusations about betrayal and hurting family members. Verso is revealed to be someone's son, and there's tension about this relationship being kept secret. The team arrives late after discovering shocking information. The man who murdered their team is Verso's father. Verso admits family isn't his favorite topic, but insists they should discuss it later for everyone's survival. A violent confrontation begins as someone claims, "She won't kill me this time," while warnings about a coming storm echo. After an intense battle, someone named William appears and asks for Alicia's name. A mysterious entity vanishes, causing distress. A mother-son moment occurs, followed by confrontation about Verso hiding his father's identity. The team debates trust, with some understanding Verso's privacy, while others feel betrayed by omission. Stories about Gestrals reincarnating are discussed regarding someone named Noko. It's explained that while Noko can be brought back to life, it would be a different version. The original is gone. The Patriarch's heart was in the manor, but now it's gone, leaving no way to access the monolith. Expedition 58's journals suggest another possibility. Discussion turns to creating a weapon that can pierce a barrier, requiring enormous amounts of pure chroma from axons, massive, dangerous creatures living on islands around the monolith. Despite the extreme danger, the team resolves to fight. They identify 3 axons, needing at least 2 hearts for sufficient chroma, and debate which to target first. Information emerges about Alicia, Verso's masked sister who doesn't speak due to fire damage to her face and throat. She previously helped someone, but has now chosen a different side. Despite the revelation of secrets, the group maintains unity, emphasizing that actions matter more than past omissions. The team arrives at Visage Island, characterized by an infinite sea of faces and strange singing. An axon appears but doesn't attack, instead seemingly inviting them down a path. A mysterious figure invites them to join Zisage in his chamber, mentioning masks that both obscure and illuminate. The team splits up to explore different paths. Combat ensues as the team progresses through the island. They discover that destroying masks seems to hurt the axon. They encounter evidence of previous expeditions and witness strange Nevron behavior. The destruction of masks continues to weaken the axon, though someone feels uneasy about the approach. After destroying all the masks, the team prepares to confront the axon directly, answering its invitation. There's discussion about the meaning of visage being he who guards truth with lies, questioning whether guard means protect or control. The confrontation with the angered axon concludes with its defeat. The journey begins with mysterious dialogue about masks and identity. Participants engage in combat sequences with coordinated commands like eyes shut, shields up, and ready to strike. Someone named Axum is mentioned, followed by discussions about the nature of art being both window and mirror. The group successfully acquires an element and decides to bring it to the curator. A character named Renoir is referenced as appearing in nightmares. This leads to a musical interlude where someone plays a song reminiscent of one played for their sister. The atmosphere shifts to a surreal architectural space that never existed before the fracture, described as beautiful but disorienting. A being called Siren, she who plays with wonder, is encountered, with warnings that she manipulates emotions. The group moves quickly to avoid mental manipulation from Siren. Her mesmerizing dance feels strangely familiar to some observers. Combat resumes with ordered commands. Weapons that previously worked effectively by augmenting pictos with music now fail against nephrons that seem to dance to their own rhythm. Despite growing despair, someone refuses to give up, suggesting drums might work where other music failed. The expedition navigates through a vast area, parts of which were opened by a previous Expedition 67. They discover something belonging to Sirene that might provide an advantage. Combat continues with various combat calls and abilities. Someone named Luke from Expedition 67 reports strange emotional effects in the area, describing it as empathic distress, flowing from a giant woman whose mind floods the area with thoughts and feelings. The group approaches their destination, preparing to face what awaits. A familiar dance is again noticed. After more combat, someone experiences mysterious visions of a woman. Later, during a moment of respite, there's a light-hearted revelation about someone hiding wine inside SGA, leading to shared drinks despite some hesitation. The scene shifts to a confrontation about consequences and existential questions. Philosophical dialogue explores themes of existence, memory, dreams, and love. Someone speaks of painting both death and life, and of self-created prisons. A challenge is presented. Decisions must be made before their very eyes, between the bars of their prison, in the shadow of the monolith. The group prepares for their final approach to face the painters. Records from the 40th expedition describe leaders Gigi and Edmund encountering a barrier near the monolith. The current group faces a similar challenge, but manages to enter what seems to be the interior of the monolith, guided by a mysterious helper. Someone senses the real Paintress above them, spurring the group to ascend. As they progress through combat encounters, they witness scenes of someone teaching children to paint and possible conflict between a woman and her husband. The intensity increases with continuous combat commands and warnings to protect each other. Finally, they realize they're inside the Paintress's mind, experiencing her memories through the chroma that one member can read, leading to a moment of confusion and revelation. A group reaches the top of what appears to be a challenging climb. They discover something of importance, the final installation of grapple points within the monolith. This achievement is documented in a recording labeled Charlotte, 17. The message conveys both pride in their team's accomplishment and a sense of fatalism, as they acknowledge they are about to die together inside the monolith. Despite this, they express hope that future expeditions will benefit from their work. A confrontation begins with combatants bracing themselves for battle. The scene involves intense fighting with various commands being shouted, such as, "Let the ink flow," and "Time to hit big." The conflict appears to have supernatural or magical elements to it. A deeply emotional conversation unfolds between family members. One speaks of inherited pain and refuses to lose their son. The other claims they've already been lost to each other for years. The conversation reveals complex family dynamics, with one stating that saving the other might mean losing them, but they're willing to make that sacrifice. The conflict continues with tactics being discussed. Someone mentions only needing to incapacitate their opponent, while another speaks of killing. The battle intensifies with various emotional exchanges and combat maneuvers. Someone repeatedly says, "I'm sorry," during the confrontation. An antagonist attempts to manipulate someone by invoking family connections, claiming that their actions would condemn their family to die. They accuse them of being drunk on illusions and declare a second destruction of the Descender family. A tense standoff follows with warnings that destroying something won't bring back a wife, and we only sever the last tie between them. The tide turns as someone named Gustav is acknowledged. Someone demonstrates an unexpected ability that was felt by the curator. This power appears significant, though its user is uncertain how they did it or if they can repeat it. They discuss cryptic statements made by someone named Renoir to the curator. The group approaches what lies beyond a door, described as the future of Lumière and what every expedition has worked toward. They express trust in themselves as they prepare to face whatever awaits them. The group emerges outside and encounters a figure called the Painteress, who resembles the curator. They realize she might be the curator's wife, mentioned previously by Renoir. The Painteress appears disoriented, questioning whether they're really there or if he is playing tricks again. The Painteress mistakes someone for Alicia and seems traumatized, asking if they're going to burn her face again. Someone explains that Alicia is the Painteress's daughter and that Maya reminds her of the daughter she lost. When invited to go home, the Painteress becomes suspicious, declaring this to be another trick and that they are not her Verso. The Painteress identifies them as Verso's creations, not hers. She asks them to take a canvas from her. The confrontation escalates as she accuses them of killing him. A chaotic battle ensues with various combat commands and emotional outbursts. During the battle, someone asks if Verso is still alive. The Painteress calls him an arrogant man whom she taught to paint, but who now uses her creations against her. The fighting intensifies with warnings to be careful. Someone insists they know exactly what they're doing, despite appearing irrational to others. The conflict reaches its conclusion. Someone named Alicia is addressed, and there's a sense that something significant has ended. Someone is told to rest, and another declares, "It's done, you're free. You are all free," suggesting a resolution to the primary conflict. In the aftermath, the group confirms that their ordeal is real and suggests that Gustav is watching over them. They plant something symbolic and discuss returning home. There's a sense of new beginnings as they contemplate what to do with all the time ahead of them now that the expedition is over. A letter is read, discussing family conflicts and deceptions. The author entrusts the recipient with delivering a letter to someone else. The message continues, addressing Maya directly and revealing complex relationships involving brothers, sisters, and families. It speaks of a painted world created by Maya's mother, the Painteress. The scene shifts to someone named Alicia waking up and being called downstairs to Renoir's atelier. She's admonished for dawdling. Upon arrival, she's referred to as our little shadow and informed about her parents fighting inside a canvas, with her mother imprisoned at the top of a monolith and her father trapped beneath. We learn that the parrots have been trapped in canvases before. Renoir is attempting to help someone who refuses assistance. Alicia is told that the person is not Verso, but a painted copy from their mother's memories. A sibling plans to leave on an urgent mission related to a spreading conflict that threatens painters. There's a plan to hide the canvas to prevent Maman from returning to it, though it's noted she'll likely find it anyway. The only permanent solution would be destroying the canvas completely, which means stopping the final piece of Verso's soul from painting. Suddenly, Aline's promo appears, threatening to take control. Someone named Alicia is warned to stay calm to avoid being painted over. An emotional scene depicts the birth of a baby girl. Parents express their love while acknowledging they have little time together. The mother delivers a poignant speech about the child's future, telling her she will be loved, will face both joy and pain in an unforgiving world, but will be strong enough to survive and ultimately change the world around her. The baby is named Mael. A revealing conversation between Alicia and someone who resembles Verso but isn't actually him occurs. Mael confirms her identity while acknowledging the other isn't Verso. They discuss memories, trust, and betrayal. Mael explains that Maman did something terrible by painting Alicia into Verso's canvas and giving her his memories. Despite this deception, Mael is glad Alicia exists, though they disagree about whether erasing the canvas was the right choice. Alicia and Mael continue their discussion about the canvas and Alicia's father, who is erasing everyone. Alicia believes her father will help fix Lumière now that she's hidden the canvas, preventing Maman from returning. She insists she's not at risk like Maman, since she hasn't been in this camp as long. Their conversation is interrupted by the arrival of Alicia's father. Alicia reunites with her father, who's concerned she didn't stay home as instructed. He comments on Aline's work causing pain and offers apologies from the Descendre family. Despite Alicia hiding the canvas, her father insists they must erase it completely, as Maman will always find it. This leads to a heated argument, as Alicia refuses to destroy Verso's only remaining canvas, which she now considers her home. Her father firmly refuses to let his daughter risk her life by staying. Someone struggles with painting but receives encouragement. They're reminded that painting isn't about perfect replication, but capturing essence and truth. Reference is made to accents created by a father that represent the essence of a mother and brother. This suggests someone is trying to recreate or restore lost individuals through painting. A confrontation erupts as revelations come to light about identities and betrayal. A daughter of a painteress is identified. Someone is accused of being a coward who betrayed trust. There's discussion about using chroma to bring back lost people, though not all chroma is controlled by the father. The expeditioners killed by Neverins still have chroma in their bodies that can be utilized, though it's old and impure. Luna is confronted about betrayal and not warning the expedition about the impending erasure. She defends her actions as necessary to save her mother, but apologizes for breaking trust. Different reactions to Luna's betrayal are shown. One character remains furious, another cannot be mad, and a third understands Luna's motivations, because she too would sacrifice others to bring back a loved one. A plan forms to push Alicia's father out of the canvas before he erases everything. He's been weakened by battling Mael, but won't remain so for long. Someone suggests Alicia should go home to break the family cycle of grief that has burdened the entire world. Helene wants her son back, Renoir wants his family back, and Alicia wants Gustav back. The group prepares to head to Lumière. Several action sequences follow as they engage in swimming and other movements. They leave someone behind for safety as they prepare to confront Alicia's father, noting they'll need to move quickly as they cannot maintain their current state for long. The group realizes they need to bring back someone named Lumière, whom they can sense nearby. They prepare for an important confrontation. Soon after, a character named Alicia encounters her papa, leading to an emotional discussion about a canvas with deep significance. Papa explains he doesn't want to erase Verso's canvas, but feels forced to make cruel choices. A profound conversation about grief ensues. Papa explains that grief blinds people, leading to irreversible choices. He acknowledges that parents leave marks on their children, but believes children must eventually find their own voice. Alicia reveals she couldn't find joy after a fire and feels responsible for Verso's death. Papa promises things will get better, but insists the canvas isn't the solution. He claims he must protect Alicia, especially when she can't protect herself. This leads to an argument where Alicia feels treated like a child, while her father fears losing her to the same shadow that took someone else from them. A character reflects on someone who saved them when they were lost. This mentor taught them how to safely use their gift without flying too close to the sun. They painted hundreds of canvas worlds together, pushing the boundaries of creation while remembering that time spent in these worlds comes at a price. An emotional revelation occurs about someone being trapped within the monolith for 67 years. They persisted because they couldn't bear to leave loved ones behind. They describe seeing living corpses daily since a fire that has caused their family to crumble, with one family member in the canvas, another fighting a solitary war, and another becoming a living ghost. A poetic French song begins, speaking of intertwined stories, two worlds taking shape in their hands, one painted with dreams where sorrow fades, the other bare and real where mourning takes place. The lyrics continue about writing tomorrow under the stars where everything begins but nothing ends, with eternal bonds remaining in the design. A desperate plea unfolds as someone begs to be unpainted, repeatedly stating, "I don't want this life." Another character resists, saying they just wanted to live this lifetime together that was stolen from them. The scene culminates with a question about finding reasons to smile if one could grow old.